Oh, Brenda. We work with a lot of advertising agencies, and there was a agency that had a new production manager that new person at the client. I'm going to introduce myself and make a point to stop by and, shake her hand, give her a demo reel, that kind of thing. And she did not want to have anything to do with me. I mean, it was one of the most interesting customer interactions I've ever had. I don't know if she looked at me at all the first meeting we had. Turns out she was very, very, very crabby. And over time, I made it my own personal challenge that I will just continually be consistently nice and kind and almost over the top with her, because I could tell somebody with her personality, she was very introverted, probably wasn't used to people being consistently nice to her, because she has a difficult time being nice to people.
Yep.
So I made it my own challenge, and over time, she's a different person when I call her. She's not as sweet as some of us, but she's literally 345-degree turnaround. I mean, just completely different than she was previously, just from a consistent long-term effort to break down the barriers that she had and gain some of her trust. And she's wonderful now. She comes to our parties that we have, and if I have these women's outings that I sponsor, and she'll come and be social. And it's really interesting how when you make it a personal commitment to bring out the best in that person, how you can actually do it. It might take a while, but you can.
Well, it took you 6 months, didn't it, with Brenda?
It was about 6 months, yeah. And now she always takes my calls. Whenever I call her, she always answers or calls me back.
For some customers, that's quite unique, yes. Now, let's see. Customer service in the everyday business. Now, let me ask you the question on everyday, though, because I mean, if I'm in service, every day is customer service. But if I'm in finance or controlling or in engineering or human resources or legal or quality assurance, am I going to have customer service in my everyday business?
Well, you'll want to if you want to be happy. Because, you have the internal customers that you're dealing with every day. Your IT department very much supports all the efforts of your customer service department. And I once did a training, and the IT guy was just kind of mad. He's like, the only ones who get noticed and get accolades are the people who have frontline access to the customers. But if I wasn't doing what I'm doing, then they couldn't be successful. So it's important that all the departments get treated well, get accommodated, or get acclimated to, not acclimated, what's the word I'm looking for? That they get
considered. Yeah, considered and appreciated.
Right, because it's a link in the chain. Everybody's a link in the chain toward the success of the business. So,
now, how much of that? I mean, cause we're talking about a mental shift here. Because you mentioned the magic word IT. Now, the vast majority of IT departments I've ever dealt with have referred to me as a user as opposed to a customer, and sometimes an abuser as opposed to a user. Is there a conscious mental shift that has to take place that is a top-down approach that says, look, ladies and gentlemen, we're not using the old vocabulary anymore? Or can you get away with calling a customer a user and still get what you're after?
Well, to me, user has so many negative connotations. It really does. And while it's preferable that it come from the top, it can also come from within. We do believe that any individual who makes a decision to provide good service to their coworkers, their customers, their boss, can do that and can affect change in their organization or their department. And IT department, I can't say I've ever personally worked in an IT department.
Oh, I have.
Have you? Marilyn knows all about it, so I'll let her take it from there.
Yeah. Well, and it kind of goes to styles, okay? Because IT people in general tend to be a little more analytical. So let's just take a minute and look at, there's 4 basic styles that we all have. We call them customer styles, but they're human styles. And you've got your analytical people that they like accuracy. They value processes. They wouldn't think of just guessing at a date because that date might be wrong, so that would be stressful. They want to see their calendar before they make that choice. Now, that might not be the best person to put face-to-face with a customer, but that'd be a great person in IT. And if you have a customer like this, you want to make sure you're talking their language, so you are methodical, so you are accurate. You wouldn't say, well, let's make an appointment, and if it doesn't work for you, we can cancel. Well, they don't want to cancel because they feel like they failed. So being analytical is one particular type. Another one would be the expressives. The expressives are the party people. They're fun, they're social, they're the life of the party, and you're going to have a 20-minute conversation when they call, which could just about kill you, especially if you're in IT because you're busy. And you know, 20-minute call, are you kidding? But if you know that this customer is a good customer, and if you lose them, you don't just lose that expressive customer, you lose all that expressive customer's friends because they're chatty, they talk to everybody. Then you know, one of the companies, a very logic-based company, they sell pipe, you know, how very much an engineering firm. And when Chris Ulrich, who was one of the sales guys, engineer guy, gets a call, he sees it at caller ID that it's going to be such and such a guy. He's like, oh boy, here we go, 20 minutes, all right. But I can do that for him. It's worth it. So he gets himself emotionally ready for the expressive customer and gives them what they need. He realizes that they're not wrong because they're expressive, they're just different. And then you've got analytical, you've got expressive. Help me out, Lori, what's another one? I don't know. Oh, my type, amiable. You got amiable people. Amiable people they just want everyone to get along. They're more interested in taking care of you than even taking care of themselves. You've got to be a little careful because they'll get put upon if you're not careful, and they'll get their feelings hurt if you're not careful. These are the people that want you to ask about their family. They want you to know them on a personal basis. So getting a little personal with these customers are really good.
Let's talk about the direct personality. That's a great one because I am so not a direct. A direct personality is someone who tells you like it is, and they're not afraid to tell you like it is. They know what they know, and they want you to agree with them. And you put an amiable and a direct together, and you got trouble.
That's right.
So if you're serving someone who's a direct, you need to understand that they're just expressing themselves, and it's not personal. They're not really trying to be, confrontational with you.
Well,
they like to make quick decisions.
The definition of a customer service professional then is a chameleon, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you give the customer not what you always hear. Treat them the way you want to be treated. That is so not true. You got to treat them the way they want to be treated. So if you have a direct person, you want to get to the point. You want to be quick and efficient and done. They'll love you for it.
All right, now I've got perhaps what's going to be the more challenging question. Most of us fit into a category of behavior and spend most of our day in that state. And if I have to be a chameleon, to a certain degree, I deny my own personal preference, my own being, as it were. Isn't that stressful on an individual to constantly have to deny their own personal desires, their own personal behavior, and constantly adapt to everybody else? It's like I don't exist anymore.
What's interesting, Marilyn, I like the story that you mentioned to me yesterday about the actress who broke up with her boyfriend. I've been in sales 20 years myself, so I look at it as a challenge, and I really enjoy it. I enjoy getting to know the customers. If you're a people person, it's a lot easier. But tell that story, Marilyn. It's a really good example.